Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chumps. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good evening again, fellow Fox fans. I'm back just to prove to the ex-missus I can do it twice a night.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
and it's live.
Oh, I think I am anyway. Just everything's just merging into one. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. And this time I'm back with the Opposition View show. And tomorrow night we've got a small matter. Indeed, the first return fixture of the season, and we are up at Goodison Park. You can catch us now live though tonight on Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, on Leicester Till I Die the group on Facebook, and at Leicester TID on Twitter and on Periscope. We are live on all of those, and please, just a subtle little hint here, if you are watching us on YouTube, please press that subscribe button and give us a follow. We would be extremely grateful. Like I say, that's my middle name there, Subtle. How are you doing? Anyway, I'm going to bring an Everton fan in, and I've got to be a big thank you to him. He's jumped in at the last minute to help us out. It's Gary, and he is from the Across the Park football podcast at Across the Park PC on Twitter. Let's bring him in and say hello, Gary.
How you doing, Chris? Thanks for having me on.
Bad, mate. Thanks a lot for coming on and getting me out of the poo, as they say. my erstwhile opposition fan for Everton was ill, so thank you very much for jumping in, because you're doing it. This is your second show tonight as well.
It is, yeah. We literally finished recording 15 minutes before I've come on here, so we were previewing obviously the game for tomorrow night, as well as our weekend's fixtures and looking back on the previous weekends as well. So yeah, 2 shows for me as well.
Yeah, you must be happy this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a good season so far. I mean, we've had some disappointing results in there as well, thrown in there as you have yourselves.
We all.
It's been a strange old season, but no, we can't be disappointed with our current position in the table. We've obviously, the task for us now is to win those games in hand and to hopefully leapfrog yourselves.
Well, hopefully you don't. But I mean, I can remember. I quite like Everton. I've got, there's a lot of links between us with players, etc. And I don't have. It's not a team that I particularly look at, say like a Man United or something like that, and go, "Oh God, I hate you," sort of thing. But it always strikes me with Everton, you're always the nearly boys.
Yeah, I suppose up until you guys won the Premier League, it was similar to yourselves, wasn't it? I mean, we had a very, very strong patch in the 80s, the mid 80s, but it's well documented now that we haven't won a trophy for a long time, for 25 years and counting. So, yeah, we're very much been the Nearly boys in my lifetime. I mean, I was born in 1985, so, you know, I only caught the latter end, you know, as a very, very young human being. You know, I certainly wasn't a football watching fan at that time. So I've only seen us win really one trophy within my lifetime. So it's that's a very good description. Certainly under David Moyes, we were very much the Nearly boys, and even in our recent years under, you know, Martinez, Koeman, etc., we just haven't hit the heights that we had expected to.
I mean, you had a lot of injection of cash similar to this year when you had David Silva as manager, and we all know that kind of didn't go well, didn't end up well. But I mean, you got Ancelotti this time. He's got to win something for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, you know what? There was, after David Moyes, we had Roberto Martinez, we had Ronald Koeman, Marco Silva, as you've just mentioned. You know, Sam Allardyce came in and done a job to try and save us apparently at one point. But no, all of those managers since David Moyes have been blessed with cash, more so, you know, Koeman and Marco Silva. The money hasn't been spent well enough up until recently. I think the appointment of Marcel Brands as our director of football was just as significant. Before we brought in Carlo Ancelotti, he was tasked with trying to make sure that we reduced the average age of the squad and we invested in younger talents. You know, Ancelotti's obviously come in as an experienced winner as a manager, and he's brought in some more, you know, proven winners and you know, world-class talent in the face of, you know, James Rodriguez. You know, he's brought in Alan from Napoli, who's given us a bit more steel. Decore, I wasn't sure about, to be honest. We've been linked with him for a number of years from Watford, but he's been a very shrewd signing. So yeah, the business in the summer has proven, you know, pretty successful so far. And like you say, in Ancelotti, we've got someone who knows how to win trophies, and hopefully he can bring us the elusive trophy we've been waiting for so long.
Andy Meadows is going to say good evening to Andy. He's commented here, Everton need to win a trophy to shut your noisy neighbours up.
I think it'll take more than one trophy to shut them up. But yeah, one trophy would be a start, and hopefully them capitulating and going to bits would help as well. It looks like they're certainly having the best of times at the moment. But yeah, to answer this question, it'll take more than one trophy, I think, to shut them up.
I think you're right, but they're pretty much similar to what happened to us last year. And obviously, it's early doors, but you know, we were going along great guns last season. We looked nailed on for Champions League place. Obviously, we then had, you know, the lockdown, and post-lockdown, it went all wrong for us, culminating in Man United pipping us on the last day, which obviously went well for them in the Champions League. But you kind of had your blip early on.
Yeah, we did. I think it was a bit of a lack of balance in the team, if I'm being honest. We flew out the blocks. We won a lot of games, but we then found that, you know, we had a little bit too much momentum going forwards, and we weren't really concentrating enough on the, you know, keeping those clean sheets. Jordan Pickford had a difficult couple of weeks in between the sticks, which didn't help. But yeah, it was a strange time really. We started really well, but I think, you know, we all conceded looking back at it. It was a little bit, you know, our new signings hadn't quite bedded in yet, and we hadn't quite established the system that was allowing us to keep clean sheets while also giving our players freedom going forward. And I know you've experienced the same under Brendan Rodgers. It's hard to get that balance of attacking football whilst also being strong enough at the back against the better teams, and that's what we've seen really. We come up against better sides and more organised side. The likes of Leeds, you know, give us a really tough time. I think it was only 1-0 at home, but we really found it difficult against them. You know, some sides like Newcastle away, that were just putting men behind the ball, and we were trying to throw all our men forwards and getting caught on the counter. So there was some frustrating results thrown in there, like you say. But yeah, we hopefully had our poor patch now, and ironically, we managed to string results together when we had a lot of players injured, which I think has helped, because we're now getting players back fit again, and we're missing a massive player in Zakoya against yourselves tomorrow, along with Alan, who's been out for a few weeks. But having both of them missing is a major concern for me ahead of tomorrow.
I mean, like you said, then we had it right at the start of the season. I mean, I don't think it was our first choice back four were all out, and we brought Christian Fuchs, Mark Albright, these players that were probably back to on the fringe. They're still there from the league winning squad, but they were playing week in, week out. Albrighton still is, to be fairness to him, and it's like players that probably played more in 9 games this season than they played in the previous 3 seasons put together. But like you say, we've now got our players back and fit. Unfortunately, apart from a certain Mr. Vardy, like you got a big player out tomorrow. Do you look at that and think, thank God he's out?
Absolutely. I mean, Jamie Vardy's been a thorn in most team sides for a long time. Extraordinary goal scorer. Even when you guys have not been playing well or have not had the best of times, he's always managed to find the back of the net. He's full credit to him. I've been waiting for him to break down for the last 3 or 4 years. Not that I dislike yourselves, but just thinking, this is going to be the season that he's going to, it's finally going to catch up with him, because he plays at such an electric pace, doesn't he? But yeah, it's definitely a boost for us. He's not on the team, albeit Inacho's got a few goals against us down the years as well, the last few years. So, we always seem to be the team that the players who don't necessarily, hit the heights every day week will normally nick a goal against us. So, it's a boost for us.
I dread listening to the game beforehand and the commentator saying, like, player A hasn't scored for the last, 5 home games, and you're thinking, like, don't say that. They're playing Leicester. He's going to do it today.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Yeah,
but no, it's fair to say that you and Vardy is a massive blow. Anyone would be missing a player as prolific as he is, and he's been such a talisman for you down the years, hasn't he? No matter who you've signed, he's consolidated himself the main man.
I mean, the funny thing is, and I was saying this literally on the earlier show, which was the preview show, is the fact that we always say we do need another striker. Perez isn't an out-and-out striker. He plays. I likened him to Peter Beardsley with Gary Lineker for England. He plays off the main striker. Inacho, he hasn't been given the game time. He hasn't had the time to sort of build up. Strikers need to be or any player needs to be playing week in, week out. Unfortunately, he's only going to come on when Vardy is injured or banned or what have you. But it's quite good that Vardy hasn't actually scored for about 4 or 5 games, but we've got Barnes and Maddison coming through. They are supplying the goals for us at the moment. So we haven't got Vardy, but you've got to watch out for those two.
James Maddison is an exceptional player. He's someone that we apparently tried to sign just before Steve Walsh, our former director of football, left. He left that as a little bit of a in brackets, but I was going to sign James Maddison after he'd signed loads of dross before that. But no, he was a brilliant acquisition for you guys, and he took to the Premier League like he took to Wolves, didn't he? And to be fair to Rodgers, I love the way he's gradually brought him back. He's dipped him in, and he's really got him in peak condition now, hasn't he? I've watched him the last few weeks, and he's really pairing, isn't he, Maddison?
I think that's the thing, and I think that, and you might not have much love for Rodgers, having managed the red half of the city, but he hasn't brought players back just because they're fit and they are a name. If
Chewy's done the same with, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Maddison, the players that had replaced him were doing all right, and he's gently eased him back in, which is also good for the players as well. We are sort of as near to our strongest squad as we were. But of course, you mentioned Steve Walsh there, who of course was part of the Craig Shakespeare, Nigel Pearson trio that won the league, and we were so annoyed when we lost him to you because he did find the likes of Mahrez, Kante, etc.
I think what's been uncovered about Steve Walsh is he has a very good network of scouts in France and in certain parts of the UK that I think kind of moved on a little bit in their in terms of the players that they were able to cast their eyes on. So I think it was kind of right time, right place for Steve Walsh and for you guys. I think you fell upon him at the right time. It just so happened that he happens to have a few players in the pipeline, and I don't think he genuinely was a very good scout. I just think he just had a few good contacts at that one time, and you obviously were beneficiaries of that in the likes of Kante and the ones you just mentioned. But he come to us and he got found out. I think he spent more time in the boozer and on the golf course than he did looking for players. But,
we had the best years then.
Oh, you did. You absolutely did. He just had our pants down with a big salary and spent all Mashiri's money. But certainly going back to Maddison and Harvey Barnes, though, credit to Brendan Rodgers. I know you said before that I might not have a lot of love for Brendan Rodgers, and that's fair. But I've got a lot of respect for what he done, even with that lot across the park. He got a lot out of what at the time was a pretty weak squad, and he converted players like Joe Allen into worldies, and he made Raheem Sterling probably the player that he is today, or went a long way towards that. Daniel Sturridge has failed to hit the heights since Brendan Rodgers left, albeit injuries have stunted his development as well. Luis Suarez was obviously an exceptional talent, but he helped him along his way. So I've got a lot of respect for what he's done at Liverpool and the way he develops players. He certainly has got a knack of getting the best out of young talent and working with them on a training pitch.
He does, and I think when we look at our transfer window, we didn't go mad in the summer, but we bought quality, and it was young quality as well. And he does have a certain sort of player that he goes for, and that generally is young. But talking about, I've got to ask you about this guy, and obviously I don't follow Everton like you do. Who is going to be your goalkeeper tomorrow?
It'll be Jordan Pickford. To be fair to Ancelotti, he's been very open about the fact that he wants to rotate his goalkeepers. He feels that he wants Olsen to be ready when he's to be called upon. But he's made clear that Jordan Pickford is still is number one. So Jordan Pickford will be the goalkeeper tomorrow. It's actually helped Jordan Pickford. I said before he had a very difficult 18 months at Everton. He's come under a lot of scrutiny from the national media because of his performances for Everton. It hasn't really impacted that much on his England performance. Southgate has been fully behind him, to be fair. But his form of late, and I'm saying this now, and this will be a commentator's curse. His form of late in the last couple of months has been exceptional. But when he's come back after having a game off or whatever, whilst Olsen's deputised, he's been very confident in his decision making, but not overly confident. There's been the issue with Pickford in the past. He's been making more calm, sensible decisions. His shot stopping has never been an issue. It's been some of the basics, like coming and taking crosses, and sometimes trying to do a little bit too much with his feet because he is good with his feet. But it will be Pickford who starts tomorrow, and I'm hoping it's a performance like we've seen over the last couple of months. But I'm sure you're hoping it's not.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Pickford, and I mean, I obviously see him more in an England shirt than I do in an Everton shirt. And there's all these rumours about the bad games, but I mean, Olsen, I've got to be honest with you, he had a great game against us in that first game earlier in the season.
Yeah, and that was one of the games where when he first he selected Olsen for that game, people were looking around going, "Well, is this Pickford dropped?" Ancelotti was really quick to say, no, it's not. Robert Olsen is a good goalkeeper. I brought him in because he's a good goalkeeper. He's a good player. He needs minutes, but Pickford will be right back in the next game. And to his credit, he was back in, and it's got the best out of both players. Olsen came in again in the cup game, and again looked very solid, very, very dependable. Doesn't do a lot wrong, but what he hasn't got to his game, the side he hasn't got to his game is the distribution, which sometimes you'll know with Schmeichel can be a match winner for you. The keeper's capable of hitting that long ball and hitting it early and hitting the front man early, then it can win you the game. So, yeah, it's worked out well for Pickford's form, and hopefully that continues.
It can do with Schmeichel. Problem is 50% of his balls always end up in the crowd. If we do have one fault with Schmeichel, it is his kicking out. You know, when he gets it right, he gets it right, but unfortunately, he doesn't always get it. Pickford is not good. Oh.
Well, it depends. I think if you were looking at one of your best opposition players and your goalkeeper took him out and he ends up being out for the rest of the season, then it depends which way you look at it. It certainly took a spring out of Liverpool's step.
I think you've probably got 20 fans of 18 other clubs going like, "Yeah, great, well done, mate." You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They have struggled. I mean, we're talking. We did. This is, as I say, the return leg, our first return leg of the season. You played us at our place when our home form was a little bit iffy, to say the least. We couldn't seem to lose away from home. We couldn't seem to win at home. But Charlton and Holgate won. Either first half and second half, 2-0 win. That was a good win for you, wasn't it?
And it come at a time when we needed it really. We were missing players. Holgate in that particular game was playing right back. He's a natural centre back. Ben Godfrey we got from Norwich in the summer. Another natural centre back was playing left back. He's not even left footed. So we had a makeshift back four that night, but it worked in our favour. We basically played 4 centre backs in the back four and said, come at us. We knew that you were going to dominate possession. We knew that you were going to throw men forwards. And I think we were looking to just try and obviously hit you on the break with our pace, which I remember that in Iwobi had a particularly good game, one of the better nights that he's had. He played as like an orthodox kind of wing back, if you will, even though we played 4 back there. So it was a good night for us. I think it was one of those nights where, we had players out, but we could only really play in the counter attack, and that suited at the time playing you at home, where you were struggling a little bit for confidence.
Well, I mean, we had 61% possession, which as we know, that doesn't count for anything in games these days. But we had 14 shots to your 11, but we only got 2 of those on target, which was probably one of the problems we had. You got 6 on target. It's the ones that go in the back of the net, as they say, that count. But you form.
I was just going to say the Holgate one was quite significant, and it's probably going to be something you're going to have to look out for tomorrow. I think we've scored more goals from set plays than any other team now this season, so it's definitely our biggest strength as an attacking force in the set plays, and that's something that I think that I'm hoping we can exploit tomorrow.
Well, I can tell you something. If you're worried about us getting on top at all, just put the ball out for a corner to us, because we are absolutely shit on corners. We're the only team that has failed to score from a corner.
There we go.
It took. Here we go. Yeah. No, I do the pre-match show, obviously before every match with my friend Josh, and he always says every game, this is the game Leicester City are going to score from a corner, and he's been wrong every single week so far. We did struggle for the first half of the season to even get it ball past the first man. But no, give us the corner and you get corners, because Brentford managed to get one in past us from the corner. So and set pieces are not our strong point. So if you're good at set pieces, you are gonna do us something.
I hope so.
But going in, like I say, your form going into this, you've only lost one in the last 5, and we feel your pain on that one. It was West Ham. We lost to West Ham as well. But we're also on a run here of we've not been beaten in 6 or 7 now. It's got 0-0 written all over it, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it? Two teams in form who are fairly free flowing in terms of the goals as well. You'd expect, if you're neutral looking at the form table, it's going to be an exciting game to watch. But like you say, Sod's Law tells you it's going to be a 0-0. But we just previewed the game in our podcast, and I really found it difficult to pick a winner. I actually predicted a 2-2, which again tells you it's definitely going to be 0-0. But no, I actually think that both sides are going to fancy themselves tomorrow. I think we'll have to go and attack you tomorrow because, you know, one, we're home, two, we're missing our two deep line midfielders, so we can't really just sit back and try and soak it up as much as we did at the King Power. And we've got forwards that are now in form. You know, Calvert-Lewin is back amongst the goals. Richarlison just scored again at the weekend, albeit in the cup. James Rodriguez looks like he's really fit and sharp and up for it. Iwobi, you know, it looks decent as well. So we've got a lot of attacking players who'll be really chomping at the bit to get minutes and to get on the score sheet.
I mean, I look at that, and you've just named a lot of them there, but I look at the Everton squad that is there this season, and I'm looking at that squad and thinking, that's a top 6 squad.
You think so? I mean, I've thought that quite a few seasons when I've looked at our squad, but certainly now, you know, you have got names in there that would command a place in most squads in the Premier League. Yeah. You know, Iwobi, I think most Arsenal fans were kind of looking at him as if to say, was he the one that got away? You know, he showed a lot of potential. Did he get played in his correct position? I don't know. I think when he first turned up, he didn't look great. He looked like a player who was short on confidence, but, you know, a good manager, Ancelotti, seems to be getting something like the best out of him now. James Rodriguez, I haven't watched him on a number of occasions, well, watched him every game this season that he's played, is a phenomenal talent, even at 29 years of age. Nobody's telling me that he's still not a world-class player, and hopefully he shows that again tomorrow. Richarlison, I've got no doubt that, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to keep him for much longer than a season or two. I think he'll be at one of the top clubs in Europe. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is proving me wrong. I didn't think he was the striker that he's shown this season. He certainly found a knack for scoring, and that was the only thing he was lacking. You know, and it sounds a bit of a mad thing to say because that should be the only thing that you should be judged on, or the main thing you're judged on as a striker. You know, you spoke about Gary Lineker before, that he was just goals and that was it, and that was enough for him, and it's enough for most strikers. But a little bit like Vardy, he's got a lot of facets to his game. He runs the channels a lot. He holds the ball up. He's decent in the air. He's got so much pace, but he wasn't scoring any goals. But now he's putting goals into his game. He suddenly looks like a fan, you know, ridiculous talent. So yeah, we've got a lot of attacking players, and hopefully, you know, they can maintain the form.
It's just getting that right manager to come in and get the right. Press the right buttons for some of these players, isn't it? You know, I spoke to Tom Parry. Now he's an Everton fan as well, and we do on the website. We have the web version of this on lcfc.com. He actually, I said to him, "Where do you see sort of Everton and Leicester this season?" And he's got you down as third and us down as fourth at the end of the season. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Would you go along with him?
I think at our best, you know, if we can both maintain our form, I think we'd both like to think that we've got a chance of finishing the top 4. If I'm going to be honest, I think 1 or 2 will sneak into the top 4. I'm not sure both of us will. I couldn't even call which one it is now. I think tomorrow's game will go a long way towards pushing one closer than the other. I mean, if you look at, you know, a win for us tomorrow puts us 3 points behind you, I think, with 2 games in hand, or maybe even closer. A win for you guys puts us, you know, significantly ahead of us. You know, albeit we'll still have a couple of games in hand. I hate having games in hand. I don't know about you, but you just want the points on the board, don't you? So
every time I just look when you're doing well, you want the points on the board. When you're not doing well, you want the games in hand so you can hopefully get the points on the board. I think you're 2 games behind us. So if you win tomorrow, you're 3 points behind with just the one game. You still have 2. You'll have 3 points behind with 2 games in hand. That's right. You're 7 goals behind us on the table. But looking at, and we'll end with this now, and I appreciate you've done a lot tonight, but looking at score prediction, Ian Marshall, a foot in both camps there. It's not often he goes against Leicester. He says it as he thinks it does Big Marshall. He's gone for a 2-1 to us, as has Steve Walsh, the player, not the Steve Linux and myself have gone for a 1-1 draw, and the other guy went 2-0 Everton, Tom Parry. So what are you going to put your money on if you were a betting man? Whoops. Sorry, press the button, get you back in. Betting man, what would you put your money on?
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I would go for a score draw. Just to be different to the other lads, I would go for a 2-2. I do believe both teams have got goals, and I think we've got a lot of threat from set pieces. If we don't break through in open play, I think you guys, like you spoke about before, in Harvey Barnes and Madison, have still got players that can score from in any moment. And I think Iheanacho, he'll probably, I expect, get the nod tomorrow as the forward. He's a bit of a fox in the box, isn't he? And I can imagine him getting on the end of something. I don't know. I just feel like there's goals in this. I feel like there's more than 2 goals in there, but I just can't pick a winner. And as much as my heart's telling me, and optimism's telling me we can nick it, I think a 2-2 is probably where it's going.
I would have felt more confident had Vardy been playing, obviously, but it is. I said for us, it almost feels like the Premier League winning season. That every time we're coming up against a team, I'm thinking this is the one that the wheels are going to come off the wagon, and yet we're not. We're still up there with third and what have you. But like you say, or like the saying goes, football should be the winner, but we know that's a load of bollocks. So you want Everton, I want Leicester. And but with a beautiful game. If it's a scrappy 1-0 that goes in off Iheanacho's arse, I'll take it.
That's it. 100%.
Gary, thanks so much for joining us. Give your podcast a quick shout out and where people can find you.
Yeah, so it's Across the Park podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Across the Park PC, or Instagram, exactly the same. We're on Facebook, Across the Park Podcast, or our website, acrosstheparkpodcast.co.uk.
There we go. And you can, I'm sure, go on or any of those and leave insulting messages when we beat you.
Yeah, or of course, any of the podcast listening apps, you can find us on there as well. But thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it. And I'd say best of tomorrow, but I wouldn't mean it.
You wouldn't mean it at all, and I take that in the way that it's meant. But best of luck for the rest of the season after tomorrow.
Cheers, mate. Take care, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for coming on. Take care, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. That was Gary, everybody, or Judgy as his nickname goes, from Everton. And a big thank you, big shout out to him for coming on at the last minute and helping us out. Don't forget, this has been Leicester Till I Die. We are on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, obviously, and Twitter and also Periscope at Leicester TID. And if you want to listen to us on Catch Up, we're on all the main podcast platforms, as indeed we're Across the Park. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple iTunes, we're on Anchor, and we're on Google, Leicester Till I Die. And don't forget, if you can go onto YouTube and just give us a quick subscribe, we would love you forever. Guys, I'll be back tomorrow about 20 to 8 with Josh for the pre-match show just after the team's announced, and we'll be looking at the team and seeing, is it Perez? Is it Iheanacho? We'll find out tomorrow. And then post-match, of course, with Brad about 40 minutes after the game. Take care, guys. Here's to 3 points tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Take care. See you tomorrow. Good night now.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.